This is first very good news because we will have a product that will be more potent, has higher chance to improve this sarcopenia. But also on a short-term basis, it's a very good demonstration of our capability in terms of gene therapy and designing new gene therapies.
Hello, you're watching Proactive. Joining me is Genflow Biosciences CEO, Dr. Eric Leire. Eric, very good to speak with you. You're on with an update today, and in it you say you've signed an important manufacturing agreement with CER Groupe. How does this partnership help accelerate your CER-T6 program?
It's quite important to have this because we rely a lot on grants from the Wallonia region for research. And CER is part of the ecological surrounding in Belgium, and strengthening our relationship with them is part of helping us getting more grants. It plays a major role. So we're very happy with our collaboration with CER, with a local CDMO, Exotera. We're lucky to have the possibility to find good quality partners in Belgium, at the same time have this possibility to raise a lot of research grants.
In the announcement, you say you've also made strong IP progress in both Europe and Japan. Can you explain how important global patent protection is for your commercial future?
Yes. In our patent family, we have, I will focus mostly on NASH, two major patents. One is composition of matter. It's a license from University of Columbia, University of Rochester, and Albert Einstein School of Medicine. This one is moving in national. And a use patent for NASH that's fully owned by Genflow. Both of those patents, the composition of matter and the methods, are moving independently after review from USPTO and PCT to national phase. This is also very important for us because it puts us in a different category of biotech company. If you want to do some business development and find partnership with pharma, the first thing pharma wants to see is some security in terms of patent protection. And when you have a patent issue in national phase, that's open the door to business development. This is extremely important in the current unstable geopolitical situation. Due to that instability, money is quite expensive for company like Genflow, early stage biotech. So instead of going to equity fundraising, we have the opportunity to now go for business development that will allow the company to benefit from upfront payment that could support the programs we are moving forward. And this is, of course, non-diluting, which is very good news for the shareholders.
And staying with MASH, your initial manufacturing tests exceeded expectations. What does that mean for your timeline towards clinical trials?
Yes, we had to select a CDMO, and I mentioned that we selected Exotera. There was another company that was maybe more reputable, at least bigger, and we had difficulty to choose between the two. Choosing the right CDMO is very important. And for that choice, we asked the company to do some kind of test of large-scale manufacturing. So far, we had manufacturers at relatively small scale, and the yield you have at small scale is not always reproducible at larger scale. And what we've been very surprised, positively surprised with Exotera, and that drove the choice of Exotera, the yield was extremely good. That will allow us to have easier access to clinical trial because the clinical lot, manufacturing the clinical lot is an important part of the cost of the clinical trial, will be easier faster, and for the also potential pharma that will acquire us, that means the cost of the therapy is likely to be lower because we have better yield. We produce more AAVs than expected. So it was good news.
Eric, the work you're doing in sarcopenia and aging is breaking new ground, especially with your dual gene technology. How big a step is this for Genflow's pipeline?
Yes, sarcopenia is the loss of muscle that we observe with age is a major issue. If you talk to any kind of gerontologist, they will say before trying to get people to reach 150, the major improvement you can do is to help people to keep their muscles. Why? Because when you don't have the sufficient muscle mass, you lose mobility. That means you lose social interaction. You don't spend that much calories, so all your metabolic, cardiovascular, cancer risk are increased. So it's number one focus when you get older is to keep your muscles. To do that, we use a progenitor of, so it's not stem cell, it's just next steps, let's say stem cell specific to muscles. And we load them with our 36. There's publication that denote that presented some synergy between the different sirtuin, and especially the sirtuin that act on the DNA repair and sirtuin that act more on the mitochondria. For the muscle, the mitochondria is very important. And we have our proprietary sirtuin 6 that we found in Centenarian, but we wanted to see if we could have a synergy with other sirtuin. And we found this synergy with other sirtuin. I will not mention for IP issue. I don't want to disclose that now, but it's very interesting. The challenge was, can you express in an AAV two genes at the same time? It's getting more complex. And we are also very surprised and very happy to announce that we were able to have this dual expression of sirtuin 6 centenarian plus other sirtuin, including a very large sirtuin in the same AAV. This is first very good news because we will have a product that will be more potent, has higher chance to improve this sarcopenia. But also it's on a short-term basis, it's a very good demonstration of our capability in terms of gene therapy and designing new gene therapies. If you ask to anyone in the industry, people say this is very challenging. And the fact that we were able to do it and to load those AAV with some kind of large cargo is a scientific accomplishment that's very positive for our company.
Eric, as the year progresses, what else should your investors be looking out for? We've chatted about your dog therapy trials. Is that something that's on the radar at the moment?
Yes, we have the dog, and we have. I will respond with a broader view. Right now, money is expensive, and it's not smart to raise money through equity because there's a lot of dilution because the terms are not good. We had to raise a little bit of money. In our case, we raised 1 million, but it was in order to get 4 million grants non-diluting. So makes sense, everybody will understand. But we want to rely as little as possible on this kind of equity fundraise when the money is expensive. If the money gets cheaper, it could be an option. But right now, it seems it's smarter to avoid this route. So the business development is interesting. Business development, if you do an early stage business development, so before you get strong proof efficacy in human, you leave a lot of money on the table. You balance everything, and sometimes it's a good option. But we wanted to add new programs that allow us to have a good business development opportunity without leaving some money on the table. And the dog study is that we are now moving the dog study. The dogs have been randomized. We measure their biological age. The product arrived in Morocco. They will be injected, and we can expect within 6 months results. It will take 6 months to analyze, to discuss with animal health companies, but that should trigger a deal with animal health. And that means with an upfront payment. I don't know how we'll structure the deal right now, but at least there will be an upfront payment. It could be a pure sales also with a larger amount of money involved, but it allows us to have access to money non-diluting other than grants. We're still pursuing grants. Grants are, for example, we mentioned the IP. We had applied for PATEX 2, so the cost of those issue of the grant and the management of the patent will be supported by grants also.
Eric, I hope you'll continue to keep us posted on your progress. Thank you very much for the update today.
You're very welcome. Always a pleasure.
It's Dr. Eric Leire, the CEO of Genflow Biosciences.